So if you're a mock draft nerd like me, you'll notice probably the most mocked player to the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 7 is University of Florida Gators right tackle Jawaan Taylor. And with good reason. The Jaguars have a hole at right tackle. When you look at the position right now, we have 4th round pick in the 2018 draft, Will Richardson, who didn't get any snaps last year after getting on the IR very early in the season. You also have Cedric Ogbuehi, who signed to a veterans minimum 1-year deal this offseason. And you also have Josh Wells, who's a familiar name, former swing tackle of the Jaguars, and he's going to be back and most likely a backup reserve role for the Jaguars. So there's a hole at right tackle, and right tackle is a pretty important position just because, you know, usually every team has 2 different good edge rushers, and the, Jaguars have a hole there. And we also like to run the ball. We've got to revamp our offense just because that was really what was holding us back in 2018. So we've got to have some improvement on that, and most of that's going to, pretty much all that actually, is going to come in the upcoming draft. So when you look at Jawaan Taylor, he is 6'5", 312 pounds, so he's got good size. And he's gone through a whole weight fluctuation throughout his life. When he was a senior at Cocoa High School, he actually weighed in at 383 pounds, and the Florida Gators staff was basically saying, hey, if you're not going to get a scholarship with us if you don't lose about 30 pounds. So over the course of the next few months, he went down to a weight of 347 pounds, and he was given that scholarship. And he did pretty well with the scholarship. He started 12 out of 13 games his freshman year. He had all freshman, All-American honors, and also had all SEC freshman honors. So he had a pretty good freshman season. And then now, in his latest weigh-in at the NFL Combine, he was actually 312 pounds. So he lost about 30 pounds from high school to freshman year of college. Then he lost another 30 pounds once he went into the NFL, the Combine. So he's gone through quite the weight fluctuation. So that does kind of show he's a hard-working guy who is motivated by success. So all that is pretty good. When you look at him as a player, man, some of his pros, he has a really strong and high football IQ. He rarely ever misses assignments. You always notice that he knows exactly where to be. You know, if he's lining up at the right tackle position and he sees an outside linebacker on the outside, he'll go and guard him, but once he sees him drop in coverage, there's not much mental process to go on. He quickly knows the exact place to go without any hesitation. And also on his combo blocks, you know, he'll get off quickly on the first guy that he's supposed to block and get up to the second level very quickly. So the mental processing is good. He's got a pretty high football IQ. He's also an excellent run blocker. He's got a lot of strength, especially in his upper body. He's able to take players, drive them, and a lot of that comes from his good footwork. He's always moving his feet. His steps are very chop-steppy, moving his feet. Those are good things to see out of a right tackle. And he's also good on the island when it comes to pass protection. He gets out and, he's good at mirroring defensive ends and making sure the quarterback doesn't get pressured. And he also has tons of experience. He's basically started all games but 2 in his college career. He never missed anything due to injury. He missed like 1 series in an opening game due to some kind of conduct issues. So all that is good stuff out of Jawaan Taylor. Now, when you also look at the cons, he plays with a high pad level sometimes. And, a lot of times he got away with that on the college level just because, he's a lot better than a lot of the players he's going against. Obviously he's a top 16 pick in the NFL draft, so he's a good player. And, that it may not hurt you in college football, but once you get to the NFL, when you're playing with a high pad level, these defensive ends are just going to drive you right back into the quarterback, going to get you on your ass and make you look stupid. So he's got to bend his knees a little bit more. You got to bend his knees, not rely on his upper body strength to do his work for him. And that's something that's going to take a little while to do just because technique can take a long time to do, as a lot of this kind of stuff is muscle memory for players. He was also heavily penalized. He averaged about a penalty a game, and he also had some penalties calls missed due to some early false starts. So a lot of that when it comes to holding penalties and especially false starts, he's got to be able to clean that up. And he also loses balance pretty easily. A lot of that has to do with his hand placement and not bending his knees. It also has to do with the defender getting their hands on him first. They get their hands on him, put him up straight, and he loses balance like that. So and once you get the defensive end, once you lose balance, the defensive end is one, because he can throw you wherever he wants to throw you. So when I look at Jawaan Taylor for the Jaguars at number 7, while I understand it is a need for the Jaguars at number 7, I wouldn't draft Taylor. I think Taylor is going to maybe be a good right tackle, but I don't like the top 10 value. I don't. If there was a can't miss kind of player like, you know, Quentin Nelson that we could draft, I would be much more for that. But really with him, like, I think McGlinchey last year was better than him. I think it's a weak tackle class, so a lot of these tackles are rising in this draft class, and I wouldn't take him. I understand the need for a good right tackle, especially like I said earlier, how most teams have two good edge rushers, and the AFC South has a lot of good rushers in the division, but it's not worth it to me. I would rather take a blue chip type of player like TJ Hawkinson at number 7 over a solid right tackle, just because, you know, they say right tackle is more important of a position. You know, I think you can get a position like this later and it would be a lot better. So that's kind of my thoughts on Jawaan Taylor. If we draft him, I'm not going to be really mad just because I understand it, but it's not the pick that I would go with. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Let me know what you guys think of Jawaan Taylor in the comments down below. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.